Yes, yes, sir.
Good. Okay, call the meeting to order. And first off, pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Director Robert,
Yes.
Director McMillan. Here. Director Avila is absent. Director Waters is absent. Director Quady.
Here. Just have a quorum. Okay, we have any public comments connected to it?
We do have some members of the public online, so if you could read the spiel, please.
This portion of the agenda may be utilized by any member of the public to address the board of directors on any matter within the jurisdiction of the board that does not appear on the agenda and on matters that are on the agenda but are not designated as action items. Depending on the subject matter, the board of directors may be unable to respond at this time or until the specific topic is placed on the agenda at a future Calleguas board meeting in accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act. Please limit remarks to 3 minutes.
If there's any member of the public online who wishes to comment at this time, please use the raise hand feature. There are no raised hands. Oh, wait, there is. Steve Nash just raised his hand. So sorry, Steve, didn't mean to jump the gun there. If our IT could unmute.
Mr. Nash, you can now.
Hi. First, thank you very much for your appearance before the Oxnard City Council at the water workshop last night. I thought that was a wonderful presentation, and I hope that you make it a regular event. And I also urge the directors who represent Oxnard to show up once in a while. We can't inform the public if we don't give them the information. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the comment. Okay, any others? No?
If anyone else wishes to speak online, you can use the raise hand feature now. Give you a couple seconds. It does not appear that anyone else wishes to speak at this time.
Okay, next item is presentation. You want to?
We have no presentations tonight. Oh, I would like to introduce, yes, thank you for my reminder. We are, so you can see we're short a couple of our managers today, but filling in for the Human Resources and Risk Management Department, we have our Senior Human Resources Analyst, Candace Anderson, who I think you've probably all met at some time, but she isn't a regular fixture at board meetings, so I wanted to introduce her. So thank you for joining us tonight, Candace.
Items to be added to the agenda, government code? None.
No items to be added.
Okay, on the consent calendar, minutes for September 4th. Any discussion? Oh, yeah, any discussion? Motion would be in favor.
The minutes.
Second.
Motion's been first and second, go call vote.
Director Robert,
Yes.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Avila is absent, Director Waters is absent, Director Quady.
Aye. Motion carries. Action items. Discuss whether a board member should be nominated as the regular member of the Ventura County LAFCO.
We are going to defer this item to the next board meeting. So expect to see it on October 2nd, which is still ahead of the deadline set by LAFCO.
Very good. So table this one. On to reports. We have the general manager's report.
Yes, it has been a really interesting month. There's been a lot going on, both in terms of activities at Met, as well as a lot of engagement with the public here in Ventura County and beyond. Some activities I'd like to highlight is I was a panelist on September 5th at Assemblymember Bennett's Climate Change, Water and Fire Forum, at about 10 speakers from various fire agencies, followed by about 5 or 6 speakers from water agencies, of which I was one. Event was very well attended. The entire County Board of Supervisors room was full, and there were actually people standing, as well as there were attendees online. In addition, I presented at the California Water Reuse Conference on Sunday about the 10 years of the SMP. And that was fun to do, fun to celebrate that milestone. in the salinity management pipelines operation. And of course, Monday, it was Monday, was the community leaders briefing, which I think was an incredible success. Charlotte isn't here tonight, but she certainly knows how much we appreciate her effort. And then last night, Ian and I went to the Oxnard City Council. At their request, they were conducting a water workshop. And so there were speakers from the city's Public Works Department, Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency, us, and United. The focus of our presentation was kind of a historical relationship with Oxnard and opportunities for future collaboration. I think it went really well. We got some very good feedback. Additionally, I've been spending a lot of time down at Met at various activities, including camp and member agency managers meetings and treated water surcharge. I think the things I would like to highlight so the board is aware is that we're making real progress in the treated water surcharge work group. At this point, the group has generally agreed that a portion of the costs can be tied to regional drought benefits and therefore should be shared by all member agencies. And they've started to break the rest of the costs into categories to try to evaluate various alternative approaches to recovering those costs. At the Camp for Water process, we're continuing to progress on the evaluative criteria. They had another member agency managers workshop a couple weeks ago, and the next iteration of that will be presented for the task force next Wednesday, which presumably Director McMillan and I will be in attendance at. And another just upcoming event I want to highlight is that, one of the other major efforts at Metropolitan is a revisiting of their business model. The member agency general managers have agreed to take on that responsibility. It had kind of previously landed in camp, but I think the thought was that it was better suited for the member agency GMs to work through those issues. So we have a 2-day retreat scheduled sometime next month. Actually, I know what the dates are. I just don't remember what they are offhand. I don't know where we're going, but we are going to have a retreat for 2 days with the member agency GMs or equivalents present in person, and then we're allowed to have a remote +1. So mine will, of course, be Henry, so that he can participate in that effort as well. So that's what I've been up to.
Any questions? Okay, on to the overview of the annexation process.
Hey, good evening, directors. We have not had an annexation case in a while. I think the last ones we did were in 2022. And we do foresee some potential annexation activity coming up. So we thought this would be a good time to give your board an overview of the annexation process. So I want to start just by showing you what our service area looked like in 1953 when Calleguas was first established. So you can see we were really just Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley, Moore Park, and part of Camarillo. And then over time, our service area started to grow. So within the first 20 years, we added some substantial land onto our service area. And in the next 20 years, even more, until we get the current service area of Calleguas. And each one of those shapes on the map right now is a different annexation case. So annexation is the process of changing our service area boundaries to take in more land. And any annexation to Calleguas is also a concurrent annexation to Metropolitan because we have concurrent boundaries. And if there's an annexation to a member purveyor, such as City of Oxnard, that triggers annexation to Calleguas as well. And there are some rules that kind of govern how annexations occur. In general, an annexation should not create a window or an island. So if you see this red area here, this was one of our most recent annexations, and you can see it's right up against the current service area in blue, and we really just had to redraw two boundaries to extend out and include this parcel. So that's what a typical annexation is meant to do. A window is an area that is outside of our service area, but surrounded entirely by our service area. And then an island is kind of the flip of that, where it's just this little chunk of service area that's sort of floating off on its own and not connected to the rest of the service area. So in general, we try to, our code, LAFCO, and MET all discourage creating those kinds of situations. Although, as you'll see when you look at our service area more closely, we do have a few that have happened historically. Annexations need to go through final approvals with your board as well as with Metropolitan and with Ventura County LAFCO. So this is a zoom in on our current service area to kind of show you where we typically are seeing annexations occur. You know, we're pretty much fully annexed out in the northeast portion of our service area. So most of the cases that come to us from various entities on the Oxnard Plain. So if there's an area that is being proposed for development, or if there's an existing development that would like to connect to municipal water service, those are typically the types of applicants that we get for annexation. So there is a lot of policy that governs this process, starting with Calleguas's Admin Code Part 8. That describes the entire process and requirements for annexation to Calleguas. And then kind of related to that is our Ordinance 12, which governs the terms and conditions of potable water service. And it explicitly states that water provided by Calleguas cannot be used to benefit areas outside of our boundaries. And that's because the property owners within our boundaries have paid into the system. They've paid the capital costs and the O&M costs in order to have this water supplied. And so to have that water benefit outside the service area isn't fair to those who actually paid into the system. Metropolitan also has similar codes and things, starting with the Metropolitan Water District Act, Part 7, that describes annexations to MET, as well as their admin code in Division 3. And in 2016, Metropolitan's board adopted policy principles on annexation as well. And then if you kind of go up to the state water code level, section 71611 states also that a district may sell water under its control within that district for use within the district. So Ordinance 12 is consistent with state water code. And then lastly, the Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Local Government Reorganization Act, which is quite the mouthful, so is usually called the LAFCO Act, is the one that governs the actual reorganization or the redrawing of the boundaries of a service area such as Calleguas's through the annexation process. So this is a pretty involved process, and over on the right is a flow chart that we provide to potential applicants who are inquiring about the annexation process. We typically tell them it's going to take about 9 months to get through the whole process, but it can vary widely. A lot of times applicants are also working on getting other entitlements. They're going through a CEQA process. So it can be often more than a year before you come to completion with annexation. But if everything falls into place, 9 months is about what an applicant can expect. So to highlight the key actions through the annexation process, once we receive a deposit of the estimated cost of administrative expenses for the annexation, we receive that deposit, then we would come to your board for authorization to initiate the annexation and request approval from Metropolitan and LAFCO. That's the first board action that happens in the annexation. Once that's received, staff works with the applicant as well as staff from Metropolitan and LAFCO to prepare the application packages to both of those entities and submit them. And then those applications go to the Metropolitan Board for approval and adoption of the terms and conditions of the annexation. It also goes to LAFCO for approval of the annexation. Once those things are achieved, then we come back to your board for the final approval of annexation to Calleguas. And then after that, LAFCO records the certificate of completion with the county clerk and files the statement of boundary change with the State Board of Equalization, and the annexation is fully complete. So there are a number of fees associated with annexation, kind of broken into two different types. The first is the per acre annexation fee, the second one being the administrative expenses. So starting with a per acre annexation fee, this is an amount that increases annually at the same time as water rates are adopted. Currently in 2024, that fee is $3,981 per acre for Calleguas, and it's $7,596 per acre for Metropolitan. And what that fee is doing is it's really bringing that parcel kind of square in terms of the investment in the system. So that's a calculation of all the property tax that that parcel would have, or that the owner of that parcel would have paid should that parcel have been included in Calleguas from the very start. So it's kind of bringing them up to speed. And that is why it increases every year, because each year the investment gets a little bit higher. And then the administrative expenses include a whole suite of things. Metropolitan charges a $5,000 processing fee to cover their staff time for working on the annexation. And there's fees for developing maps and legal descriptions, various LAFCO and county fees, and so on. And so all told, the administrative costs begin at about $21,000 for a single parcel of an acre or less, and all-in cost for that single parcel of an acre or less would be about $33,000 in 2024. That would include the per acre annexation fees. So it is a not insubstantial cost. And again, depending on the size of the annexation, that cost can go up substantially. So you don't have to squint. This is on our website. Yes.
Yeah, I just was, is the per acre annexation fee, is that indexed against anything, or is it, how is that gauged?
It's based on the assessed valuation for the district, and we then go through, and it's basically by 2%. It's just based on the valuation of the area for the district and the increases that happen on an annual basis.
Very good. Thank you.
So this is a sheet we post to our website every year. Those annexation fees go into effect January 1st. And we also provide this sheet to prospective applicants as well, so that when they first come to us, we prepare a package for them. We give them a letter that outlines the whole process of annexation and also gives them an estimate of the cost for their particular property. We include this in with that letter so that they can see how we calculated the cost. And each year, the Metropolitan and Calleguas annexation fees are going to adjust a little bit. They're going to get a little bit higher, but all of the other fees on this sheet stay pretty static. We haven't had an increase in any of these other fees in quite some time. So that is kind of the only thing that really tends to change. And again, we keep this posted on our website. So with that, that's kind of a broad overview of the whole annexation process, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions of Jennifer? Okay, thanks.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, water use and sales. Power generation investment summary.
Evening, directors. Tonight we have the water use and sales for the month of August. So in the month of August, we sold 8,121 acre feet of water, which is again above our budgeted amount. So we are 2 months in a row above our budgeted amount, which brings our 2-month total to 16,000. So we're about 400 acre feet above where we had budgeted at this point. So off to a decent start for the fiscal year. As you can see by the graphs, the first 2 months are above the little red line, which is our budget. And so that's very encouraging to the start. But looking over the last 12 months, depending on the rainy season, if it comes up, it's always brings the budget up, goes a little below budget. Looking at the Met reconciliation, so we had $10,200,000 in water sales, had about $100,000 in storage for the month. We can do the reconciliation to amount to get to the water purchase from Metropolitan of $10.3 million. This add in the CRC and the RTS, and then we got $239,000 back for the local resources projects. Then we had very little money coming that we had to spend for the conservation program and for the turf replacement program. We are still putting money toward the turf replacement, but it is coming to an end. So these amounts are going to be small until it finally gets to the final point. Bringing the total MWD invoice for August to $10,998,000. Looking at the SMP, we had 74 acre feet of discharge, which again, 2 months in a row of discharge that was above what was budgeted. So we're at 151 acre feet of discharge. We had budget of 143 for the first 2 months. Power sales, we were a little below what we had estimated. We brought in $88,000. We had budgeted 90,000. This is for the month of July. So this is a 1 month comparison. So these two little graphs are pretty much the same. Looking at the revenues, so we brought in for the potable water sales, $14 million. Year to date, we're at 27.7. The total budget for the fiscal year is 131 million. So you can see we're just a little below actually the total budget. I think that's because of the RTS and the CRC collections coming a little under budget what we had put in. The recycled water, you can see we're a little above where we brought in. The amounts are small, but we are above where we thought we'd be for the recycled water sales. And the SMP is almost at budget by 0.1%. And power generation, we're just a little below budget. So overall, we're doing good for the first 2 months of the year. Looking at cash and investments, we actually brought in an additional $5 million in the month of August. That is relatively typical for this time of year because as the months are going up, the water sales are going up. And so we're bringing in more money during the first few months of the fiscal year. So this is what we would expect to see, the extra cash coming in, which we're going to be moving over to investments and holding on till those slower months in the winter where we have to spend more. And that is all I have for the water use and sales at this time.
Okay, any questions? Okay, I just had one on the power side.
Yes.
On the east portal, there was power loss. Is that our side or outside?
On East Portal?
Yeah, in other words, there's 81 hours of power loss, so we weren't able to.
Oh, so that would not be necessarily on our side. When there's a power outage out there, we have to shut down the power generation. So that would be what the power loss would be for.
Yeah, so it's the loss of utility power, which prevents us from operating because it prevents us from having a controlled shutdown, which could burn up the generator. So we like to play it safe.
So we are affected when there's a shutdown.
When there's a power outage out at the East Portal,
Then
we have to shut down the hydros.
we cannot generate power to.
Right.
We don't live off any.
The way I would say is that it's
Short end.
not safe for us to generate power.
I understand. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Not safe.
Is how I would,
Better for us to shut it off altogether at that point.
yes.
For something. And how often does this happen?
It varies. I mean, certainly that is an area because of its location that is subject to public safety power shut off. So when the conditions are ripe for that, this wouldn't be that because we haven't had PSPS conditions. So it must have been some other loss of utility power for whatever reason by Edison.
It doesn't happen that often out there, but it is subject to, it seems like it would be very likely to happen.
And backup power would be,
We do have backup power. That way, if the hydro is running and we lose utility power, we can do a controlled shutdown.
Yeah.
I was actually there today and generators there. But we don't want to run it when there's no utility power, just because if you had multiple failures, you could burn up a very, very expensive hydro unit.
Oh,
which
yeah.
was- It's just not worth the risk.
We also, interesting, we sell power to SCE out there, but we run off of LADWP. So they often aren't both off at the same time.
Gosh.
But it's especially with the PSPS, LADWP doesn't have the same exposure that SCE does for whatever reason. Probably because they didn't go through the same litigation that edited. So they're not quite as conservative with the PSPS. So anyway, it's just like a wrinkle out there.
Interesting.
Okay. No other questions for Dan? Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Next item,
On to the
also Dan.
quarterly capital projects report.
Yeah, there's a reason I haven't left the stand yet. So the next item tonight is the quarterly capital projects report. We bring this report every 3 months to kind of give you a quick snapshot of where we are with all of our capital projects, with the spending, and what phase they're in and when we're expecting that phased in. So this is just a quick snapshot for the board to take a look at and see where we're at with capital projects. And I'm available if there's any questions.
Any questions for Dan? Okay. That's it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. General Counsel's report.
As you all may have noticed, the quarterly legal summary was distributed by email. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. And there's a closed session on the agenda for this evening.
Okay, thank you. The director's reports, committee meeting,
There have been no committee meetings since the last board meeting.
board member ancillary duties. Board of Aqua Region 8 Director. Okay, the executive board meeting is this Friday at 9:20. That's all I have. Joint Powers Insurance Authority representative, no report there. Association of Water Agencies of Ventura County, that's he's not here. Fox Canyon. Board of Metropolitan Water District Director.
Yes, on September 5th, I attended Metropolitan's North Caucus via Zoom. And on the 9th and 10th, I attended the Metropolitan Committee and Board meetings via Zoom. And I've listed the following actions that the board took. And on September 12th, I attended the Camp for Water Public Workshop via Zoom. And September 13th, I attended the Community Leaders Briefing, our strategy meeting at CMWD. And today, I attended the Community Leaders Briefing with Assemblyman Bennett at the Ventura County Community Center in Camarillo, and that was September the 16th. Thank you.
Tonight's board meeting.
Yes.
Director Robert?
So since my last board meeting, which was in August,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we got a
I'm
little
sorry.
off track
Right,
here.
Yeah,
Oh.
no LAFCO
Oh.
there. And then BCRA, no report here. Ventura County Special Districts Association.
no meeting since last board meeting. There's one coming up in October. First, I will not be able to attend.
Okay, so now we'll jump into the reimbursement. Go ahead, Director Robert.
So since the last board meeting I attended, on the 27th, there was the this is a long one, special joint meeting of the Executive Committee and Board of Directors, MWD, at Metropolitan. On the 28th, Subcommittee on Long-Term Regional Planning. September 3rd, we had the Public Finance Authority meeting. And then on the 5th, there was the AWA board meeting. And yesterday, water issues with a very informative and enlightening presentation on soil microbiology and how it affects water efficiency. It was very eye-opening. And tonight's board meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Director Mellon, are you done with the reimbursable?
Well, for Calleguas, Okay, September the 6th, I attended the Metropolitan Calleguas Strategy Team meeting. September 8th to 12th, I attended CSDA's annual conference in Indian Wells. On the 14th, I completed cybersecurity training on fizzing, how we pronounce it, I misspelled it. September 17th, I attended Alwa's water issues meeting via Zoom, and that was very interesting, that soils guy. Yeah, I'm wish that had been recorded. September the 18th, I attended tonight's board meeting.
On September 11th, I attended the Ventura County Tax Association CoLab joint meeting there. On the 12th, I zoomed in on the Camp 4 water. On 9/13 and 16 are related to the community leaders briefing. And earlier today, I attended the Ventura County CoLab, listening to County Supervisor Long. And tonight's board meeting, same day. Discussion regarding upcoming meetings.
Yes, one decision the board needs to make is we do have a Metropolitan Colorado River inspection tour scheduled for, I believe it's November 1st through 3rd. Is that correct? And obviously Director McMillan will be attending as the Metropolitan representative. We typically have 2 board members going. And so we need to choose who that board member will be because the registration deadline is before the next board meeting. So.
And it should be for those that come.
And we're going to Hoover as well.
I volunteer as tribute.
That's what it took.
Will you be able to make it?
November 1st through 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
And
Good.
we'll be meeting up at Burbank Airport.
Okay.
Well, we're going to arrange for transportation from here for folks who prefer that.
And I'm going to drive to Las Vegas earlier in the week and I'll meet up with you guys at the
Okay.
airport.
Well, not we. I'm not going. Ian's going.
Shouldn't have a conflict.
Okay.
Been wanting to go to that one.
I won't hold it against you that's one of my two.
Now I'm even more excited.
It's very complicated. Okay, future agenda items?
Obviously, we'll have a revisiting of the LAFCO nomination item that was, that we skipped over tonight.
Any information items?
Not tonight.
Okay, well then I guess we will adjourn the open session and go into closed session.
Yes, you can. You can resume the meeting.
We will reconvene the open session.
And the closed session report is the board received an update, no action was taken.
Okay, I think that does it for us. We will adjourn right now. You all.
You. Okay, so Jack.